Hello and welcome to OWXL League Season 3, Week 3 on Dorado. It's got the Challenger tier game between SQUA and Making Plays. The undefeated SQUA at the top of Challenger, tied with Desert Legion Gaming, looking to continue that win streak here in Week 3 against Making Plays, looking for their first win of the season. Lot to play for here. I'm your host, Salt and Pepper, casting with me. Zach is Space 26. Zach, how are things, man?
Things are good. Glad to be here. It's a great tier. Really enjoying it so far. I've seen SQUA play a couple times, so I'm really excited to watch them play again. We've actually gone up against them in a scrim once, and they're a solid team. Bo Biddley, Buddha, Don Jiggy. I recognize all of those names. So a couple new ones that I haven't seen before, but yeah, it should be two really good teams, and I'm excited to see them play.
No doubt about it. Definitely a lot to play for here as the season gets underway. Coming up on the kind of midway point, so these standings may be starting to settle out a little bit. Like I said, SQUA sitting up there at the top of Challenger, looking to continue that streak. But yeah, we've had a few games so far. After this game, there will be a Challenger tier, or a Champion tier game rather, directly after this. So looking forward to that as well. And also, there's another game going on from the rival tier between, I believe that's Daddyland and Hogpen Esports. The link should be in the announcement channel in Discord, but if you haven't seen that yet, I think it's twitch.com/chickengods with an underscore between the two words. So you can go and check that out as well if you want to go look at that rival tier game. But again, I think everybody here ready to get going, so we'll get this started for you here without delay in just a second. Zach, I know you did a little bit of research on these teams. What can you tell us so far?
I'm not sure if I can say anything that hasn't already been said. Two really good teams. You see some really good standout players from both of them. Bo Biddley and Don Jiggy in particular are two that are really good on the side of SQUA for Making Plays. I know that Tacos and Chief Killer are two that have stood out to me in the past. Stoic as well. Keith Stone is one of the newer players on their team, so I'm excited to see how he's able to integrate with them and how their play styles are able to interact. Hopefully, kind of helping them along, to reach new heights, so to speak.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And coming out into Dorado, our first map, again, this is a themed kind of season where in week 1 we did Eichenwald, week 2 saw us on Oasis, week 3 we're here on Dorado. And first payload map that really has been prevalent. Obviously, a few teams getting to that payload section on Eichenwald, but this one is straight payload. And it's been interesting to see how teams fare here. In the previous Challenger tier game we just had between Legacy and Ryan's Rejects, saw this one go into 4 rounds. So definitely a lot of exciting games on these payload maps, and excited to see what these teams have for us.
Yeah, and I think we saw that on a game either last night or the night before as well, just going into the extra rounds. And it's one of the things that makes payload maps so exciting is that there's a lot of scrappiness to it, a lot of fights going back and forth, and if your attack is good enough on either side, you have that chance to try again, even if your defense might not be quite where it needs to be.
Yeah, also no possibility of a draw here either, so the loser of this game will be picking the second round. And yeah, a lot to play for in this 2 out of 3 series. Opening up here, SQUA on the left-hand side of the defenders. Frogs coming out on Orisa, Buddha on Junkrat, Junior License on Diva. Bo Biddley going Moira, David Squabinson on McCree, and the Don Jiggy on Mercy. Very pretty standard kind of defensive comp for them. We see that again, a hybrid team, or rather SQUA's a very good hybrid defending team. We see that kind of lineup from them pretty regularly. But for the other side, Making Plays, LL Blue J on Diva, Stoic on Reinhardt, Tacos going Moira, Chief Killer on Soldier, Keith Stone going Mercy, Young James on Tracer. Bit of a low defense. Interesting here from SQUA. Obviously, we see a lot of teams use that high ground. It did not fare well for, I believe that was Legacy on the game previously.
We see them kind of breaking up and attacking from a couple different points. The McCree got rushed pretty hard by that Diva and gets taken out. Buddha on the Junkrat, though, is kind of staying on the high ground on the building and attacking their backline. Really good job of kind of just being annoying and distract them. However, if he does get focused down, there's not really much anyone's going to be able to do. He is able to take out that Mercy with a trap, though, and makes it back to his team. So that's always what you want to see.
Yeah, definitely make the difference for them, tilting the fight in their favor as the defenders continue to push the attack a little bit further back. Making plays will have to retreat and maybe come back with the rest of these respawns. Young James on Tracer trying to get a little bit of damage in, but Junior License just kind of shepherding everyone away from the payload. And yeah, I think the defense is holding well so far.
Yeah, I think it really is a strong team comp. Their tanks, they have the one shield tank, and then the D.Va can kind of dive and absorb a lot of damage from more of the backline to the Junkrat. He's able to do a lot of explosive damage, while they also have a McCree who's able to be a hit scan, and then of course their two healers are also kind of differently specialized. So I think it's a really good team comp on the side of the defense right now, and like you said, making plays is going to have to regroup and figure out a strategy if they want to be able to break through.
Yeah, even more difficult now. 2 minutes and 20 seconds on the clock. Buddha will get 2 immediately. Keith, Stone, and Young James falling. Bo Bidley add 1 more on the Reinhardt. Half the team from making plays down, and they'll already have to regroup before that fight even really started. 3 ultimates on the side of the defense. SQUA sitting with Junior License. D.Va self-destruct. Bo Bidley has a Coalescent. David Swabinson with the Deadeye. Frogs coming out with the Supercharger. A lot to work with. They don't want to overcommit too quickly. 2 ults on the other side, a couple on the way though for the attackers, and this next fight kind of breaks out a little bit bigger than the attacks away though, as I say that David Swabs catching Chief Killer in the back and able to get a good headshot there. Taco trying to come in with the Coalescence attacks, but the kills starting to go for the attackers a little bit. The beat, a fantastic double there for Blue to get pick up 2 Frogs and Supercharger going down as well, and things may be going their direction.
Yeah, it was a good little flank from Young James on the Tracer, and then Chief Killer on the Soldier. They kind of went around behind and got behind that Orisa shield to just split their focus and allow the rest of the team to kind of push forward. And once the ult started coming out, it looks like everything is going to be going the side of making plays.
Definitely could be a darker shade than we've seen previously. Things kind of going for them, and the payload pushing up to the checkpoint. Just a little bit over a minute on the clock. I think the defense will let them have this one, and we'll come back in to contest right here on the other side of the gate. I say that, but trying to contest maybe a little bit further forward, getting a couple kills there. They're kind of going back and forth, but again, the defenders could get caught out here. They hate to be staggered, kind of a weird position. Definitely that second section, a good opportunity for them to dig in, but not if their deaths are staggered through. The attack doing just that though, really getting the kills and pushing back the rest. Junior License completely left without a mech, but finally staggered in the back. Young James falling for his trouble. But again, I think the attack might have to rethink, or the defense rather have to, we'll take them a second to come back in and set up with those long respawns.
Yeah, I think it might have been a mistake to kind of sit so close to the payload after they got the checkpoint and try to continue getting kills. They don't have the spawn advantage as far as placement goes, and like you said, they just staggered them. So now they're having to set up really far back around this little second turn, and it might end up proving kind of detrimental for them.
And Buddha coming out with the Riptide. He's used it effectively so far. Use it again. So they're getting Keith Stone in the air, and that'll be a disadvantage for the attackers. They lose mech as well. A good shatter, however, coming in from Stoic, grabbing 3 and trying to swing away to get that. The self-destruct coming out. We'll see if that connects with anyone. Not quite, as David Swabson adds a couple back for the defenders. I think that's a good hold for SQUA. Ooh, very late Coalescence. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I think the self-destruct might have served more of a purpose to kind of negate the shatter more than actually get kills, and it served its purpose well, I think. Kind of got everyone away from the payload, protected their team who was lying on the ground, and allowed them to kind of come back up. I saw that Deadeye come out afterwards, get a couple picks, and yeah, really good job regrouping from the side of the defense.
Yeah, exactly right. We're worried about this. It's late, kind of further back setup from them, but able to defend the payload well and forcing the attackers to kind of an awkward position. 1 minute and 38 seconds on the clock for them. 3 ultimates though for the attackers as well. So not, I think they do kind of have the upper hand coming to this next fight if they execute kind of responsibly and commit their ults correctly. I think they have a good chance at taking this next section. Another self-destruct coming in from Blue though, able to grab the Don Jiggy plus the Supercharger from Frogs. Junior License going out of the mech. It's kind of going their direction a little bit. Gets back in the mech, grabs Junior License. And yeah, now the attackers will make quick work of the defense as they continue to push the payload underneath the bridge.
Yeah, I think taking out that Supercharger and the Mercy were, 2 pretty big picks for them, because they were, I don't want to say putting their eggs in one basket, they were kind of grouped up behind that Orisa shield and counting on that quite a bit. So when that healer went out and then the Supercharger went out as well, the dominoes just started to fall for the defense.
And hopefully they, I think That second checkpoint can be a little misleading, I think, because the payload doesn't really stop there. It stops at the second gate, so I think teams maybe push back a little bit too far. They could have contested before that point, decided to let it go. The defense is still with 2 ultimates to the 3 for the attack, but yeah, again, the payload will stop here and give probably this fight a chance to breathe a little bit.
Wow, 3 big picks from David Robinson. Gets out the Taco on Mora, Young James on Tracer, and Chief Killer on that Soldier as well. Buddha did switch to the, he switched to the Bastion as well off of the Roadhog. I'm sorry, not Roadhog, the Junkrat. So that should be, a lot of damage coming in from the defense as well. Hopefully to help them, kind of stop this pretty aggressive attack that's, they've been beating them down so far.
Yeah, late self-destruct again, trying to catch a couple, but doesn't quite connect. And yeah, back-to-back multi-kills with the Deadeye for David Robinson, really causing some problems. Getting out of the double there, Chief Killer, and Stoic, the bids himself a Peacekeeper. Now the coalescence coming out from both Billy. The defense continuing to push once more as Junior License does grab another with the self-destruct. Boot is back to the fight off res. As the timer ticks below a minute, the defense again continues to clean up, and the attackers will have a really difficult time breaking the stronghold.
Yeah, I think the Bastion was a good switch. Couple that with the Orisa and then the Diva as well to eat any damage that might come their way is a pretty formidable little defense that they've got going on.
Yeah, and the attack coming through a very tight section too, with all that damage coming through the opening. It's difficult for them to really create a lot of space for themselves. I'm surprised they're trying to come in that direction, but now pivoting around to the left, Stoic with the Reinhardt shield, trying to bring his team with him. And the defense, if they're not careful, will get caught up from behind.
You see the Bastion starting to ult now. He's moving down, going right for that Reinhardt, ends up getting the pick. Yeah, really forcing the attack to just kind of back off. They're still trying to push that little room. Mercy does come through to res the Reinhardt, but gets taken out shortly thereafter herself, and Reinhardt gets immediately taken out by that Bastion sitting there.
Yeah, definitely an important res. We saw on the stream for Buddha to get back up right in front of the Reinhardt. Just aware of it, was able to set up his turret for him and melted it pretty quickly. But definitely a good push from making plays. I think SQUA put up a formidable defense, but definitely has their work cut out for them coming into this next section. So we'll see how they come in with this attack, and hopefully they can equal that distance. With the pause here. Looks like we lost one. Be a 3-minute pause for David Squabs to come back into the game. Honestly, if you're going to leave, what a time to do it.
All right. Couldn't have played that better. There he is. He's back.
He's back.
David Squabson really been a, really solid McCree so far this game. Multiple back-to-back Deadeye kills, doing everything that he can to put as much damage into the enemy team and get picks where he can. So, yeah, if they lost him, that would be missing quite a bit.
Yeah, but able to get back, reconnect to the game, we'll make sure he gets all connected. Coming in for the attackers, luckily doesn't have a long way to walk. But as the comps shape out for both sides, the defenders Blue going back on the Diva, Stoic on Reinhardt, Tacos on Moira, Chief Kill on Soldier, Keith Stone going Mercy, Young James again on Tracer. For the now attack, SQUA, Frogs on Winston, Buddha going Farah, Junior License on Diva, Bo Billy again on Mercy, David Squabson coming back on McCree, and Don Jiggy on Zenyatta.
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
Consider only victory. Make defeat an impossibility in your mind.
I'm looking forward to working with you all.
Hello. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Stop the payload.
So now Buddha on Farah with the Pharmacy combo. helped out with Bo Billy stay alive and stay damaged up, trying to push the defenders off the high ground. Staying pretty solvent, just trying to get a little bit of damage through and definitely being a distraction for them. Pushes them back, and a little bit disorganized now as the payload continues to push around. A little bit of a high ground attack, however, coming in from the rest of the members of SQUA, trying to get into this back line, really disrupt the defensive setup so far. Doing just that, Don Jiggy, David Squabinson, and Junior License all combining well to take down a few of the defenders. That payload actually hasn't moved yet, though. Still sitting all the way at the beginning, a fight breaking out, but no one going to move it.
Yeah, somebody's get back on there quickly to start moving it. There we go. But Don Jiggy did switch back. Going a little bit slowly, but I wanted to mention Buddha on that fair did a really good job. Took both of their tanks kind of out of the equation, knocked them on either side of the high ground, and that just allowed the rest of their team to kind of push up and clean up the rest of the defense right there. So now we see them starting to sit up again, closer to that final checkpoint. They've just been pushed back. The Winston doing a really good job of getting the back lines and distracting them from, the Buddha flying around in the sky.
Yeah, and they've really pushed the fight up to this first checkpoint here. Buddha getting, again, kills in the feed, using the rocket barrage there to combine and get both supports before being taken out by D.Va. But now Bo Billy coming in, able to get that Thera back into the fight as the self-destruct will take out two. Buddha going right back down. Frogs getting better than Rez this time. And it looks like SQUA should be able to push this section in. Stoic, the only remaining defender, I think, in and around it. Blue on D.Va doing level best as well to stay, but I think SQUA may be able to overpower. D.Va goes out of Meg, drops there. Rather no getting healed. Where's the Mercy on that side? Oh, Keith Stone getting heals in, finally going down. And now actually the defender's starting to trickle back in. Blue able to get actually back into a mech, but I think only delaying the inevitable. Stalling maybe long enough for the rest of the defenders to come back in. Maybe not quite. He's able to cap the checkpoint. Yeah, maybe committed a little too long, but time off the clock perhaps. 4 minutes and 20 seconds, but we'll have the long spawn, which makes it a little difficult. For the attack now, SQUA 4 ultimates as well. Frogs Primal Rage, Junior License with the self-destruct. And David Squabinson's Deadeye used that to pick up, I believe, 5 in the first round. Don Jiggy with the Transcendence, but 5 ults on the other side too. So this attack will be, I think, mostly about ult management, making sure you don't commit too much because you want to have Sun for the next fight. Red starts to break out here again. Buddha going in the top, trying to get a little bit of damage in the Tactical Visor. Coming out from the Chief Killer, but will get dropped pretty quickly there by Junior License. And now the kill's starting to go the way of SQUA. Buddha grabs one on Young James. The Coalescence coming out here from Taco's answer directly back with the Don Jiggy's Transcendence. And yeah, again, all's kind of going out either side. You'd like to think that somebody will have something left over after it's all said and done.
2 quick picks by Buddha kind of end up there. He gets another one on Tacos. Junior License also getting one. Yeah, looks like it's going the way of SQUA right now, just continuing to push forward unabashedly. And looks like they're about to take this second checkpoint with almost, a little over 3 minutes of the time bank.
And good progress from them so far, getting that very easily in 4 minutes and 35 seconds to spare, and not a long way to go. It's going to have to be an important defense for making plays if they want to have an opportunity to stay in this game. We're going to try and, yeah, it's going to have to be a really strong defense for them, but not a long way here. And the defenders with more of the ultimates, though, that really could be difficult. A very important pick there from David Squabinson to use the Deadeye to grab Keystone, who I believe had just gone into Valkyrie. Oh no, still has a Valkyrie and will be able to use that, but pick before being able to help the team out with it, really. The rest of the defenders trying to stay on as long as possible, but SQUA cleaning them up clinically. That will be a win there for SQUA in the first round.
Yeah, it was the Bo Biddley who went into the Valkyrie and did a really good job of switching between healing your team as well as attack boosting them, and they just cleaned up there at the end.
Play of the game.
Junior License coming in and causing problems for making plays and getting into SQUA's back line a little bit, but not able to get the win there. The play of the game would be a nice consolation. SQUA with all the cards and halfway to a week 3 victory and a continually undefeated record. We'll get the map pick from Making Plays. We'll be right back.
Thanks for the love.
Welcome back to Week 3 on Dorado, this challenger tier game between SQUA and Making Plays. SQUA coming out really strong with a pretty good defense and a strong attack to take that game 3-2. The map pick coming from be Making Plays. We don't have it just yet, but Zach, what do you think was your overall takeaway from that last game?
Well, I think both teams did a really good job. SQUA obviously having the upper hand. I really thought Making Plays was going to be able to take it all the way during that first push. However, there at the end, once they switched to the Bastion, coupled with the Orisa, they just didn't have enough damage to take him out, and it ended up being their downfall. So I'm not sure if it would be hero picks or focusing targets. I noticed also that Buddha on the Pharaoh was largely uncontested, just flying around in the sky. So if I were Making Plays, I would focus him down, obviously. I think he was a big problem for them, whatever character he picked. And then also going for the healers. The healers did a really good job of keeping SQUA alive. We know that the Don Jiggy is a really good healer, as well as Bo Biddley, just both of them. And I think if they can focus them down, Making Plays has a really good chance of making this comeback.
Well, definitely a mountain to climb. The next map coming out from Making Plays is Volskaya, with a unique second map pick. Interesting from them, and I'm excited to see what they have for us here. What do you make of the 2CP?
And we don't often see a 2CP in the X League, so it's a little refreshing. Personally, they're not my favorite map types, but I know some people really like them, and Volskaya especially is, in my opinion, better than some of the other ones, especially Horizon Lunar Colony. It's got to be my least favorite map of all, but I'm excited to see what they're able to do. Sombra is always, I've found to be kind of good picks on Volskaya just because of the health pack placements. So I would like to see one of those come out. But yeah, Volskaya, 2CP, I'd definitely expect to see another Orisa, probably a Bastion as well on the side of SQUA if they're on defense. And I'd like to see maybe a Pharah on the side of, Making Plays if they're going to want to deal with that.
Well, yeah, I'm definitely excited to see this. Again, Hanamura is the map next week, so we'll get an opportunity to see a few more 2CPs, but getting started here on Volskaya. I think both teams are ready to go, so we'll get that started for you. Yeah.
Traveling to Volskaya Industries.
Right. Coming out on Volskaya Industries, SQUA attacking first. Frogs87 on Orisa. Buddha again on the Junkrat. Junior License on Diva. Bo Biddley going Mercy. David Squabinson on Soldier. Don Jiggy going Zenyatta. Again, very familiar comp for them. It seems to work out. For the defenders, LO Blue Jay on Diva, Stoic again going Reinhardt, Tacos and Moira, Chief Killer on Soldier, Keystone going Mercy, Young James on Tracer. I believe also an identical comp to what we saw on Dorado, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you're right, actually.
Now Blue trying to get a little bit of damage in from the top. I think it is pretty successful. I don't really see him. Donji get a little low and will suffer there. Taco's falling to the other side. It means it's a 5v5 with supports down. Blue going out of mech, though, a little bit disadvantaged as Bo Billy will get Donjiki back into the fight. The attack really starting to push in now. You see the kill key kind of going that direction. Young James on Tracer trying to answer back a little bit, but I think will get overpowered there, and it's a quick attack from SQUA.
Yeah, losing Keystone and Tacos pretty early on there was really bad for the side of making plays. Their two healers going down just allowed them to kind of be run over, and now they need to back up and kind of set out, rethink their strategy, and figure out what they're going to do to prevent them from getting run over on the second point.
Another tire coming out here, and all flat, but not coming out of mech. The attackers really kind of pushing in on the defender. They don't really have a lot of space. Making plays kind of get pushed back off of the corner, and already percentage starting to earn here for SQUA as Bo Billy goes into a Valkyrie to get Buddha back up.
Yeah, really aggressive attack so far. You see Junior just going in on that Diva, no holds barred, really doing a good job of putting pressure on their back line and forcing them to retreat. And it seems to be working out really well from the side of SQUA so far.
Yeah, and here the shatter from Ryan Benign, but the Transcendence Sublime with time. Blue Jay coming in with a fantastic ultimate, grabbing 3, including the Frog Supercharger. That may shut this down for the attackers when all hope looked lost for them. 2 ticks gone for SQUA, but the self-destruct really helping Making Plays stay in this fight and continue to eat a little bit more time off the clock.
Yeah, really good self-destruct right there coming in the last second, like you said, when all seemed like it was lost, kind of was able to come through and make a big play. So good job from LL Blue Jay to kind of keep their team in this fight for a little bit longer.
Yeah, so now looking at ults for both sides. Looks like Keystone with the Valkyrie for the defenders. That could be really helpful. Buddha with the tire looking to get in on that Mercy and kind of negate that opportunity for them. Nobody really committing just yet, but a lot of time still for the attack. Over 5 minutes on the clock remains, and they don't have too much more of this control point to earn. Nice slow, steady push, but now the tire once again getting Blue out of mech. That will be a little bit helpful for them, and maybe it will open the door for ults later on. Young James now picking up the Death Blossom, however, for the defenders can make this complicated for the attack. They'll need to get that junior license out of mech though, if they want to try and use that effectively.
Ooh, really good effort, but good job from Frogs to put up that shield right as Young James started his Death Blossom, kind of negated it more or less completely. I do like to switch though from the Tracer onto the Reaper. I think it's really good to take out the tanks that are giving them a lot of problems. However, in the end, SQUA is able to push them off the point and get that third tick.
Yeah, really strong push and a lot of time again on the clock. 4 minutes and 32 seconds for SQUA. That's kind of showing us how it's done. So already advantaged, 1 up in this game, and looking to clean it up right here on Volskaya. They'll need a strong defense to do so. Making Plays look to come right back on the map they chose and take it to the 3rd game of the series.
It looks like a lot of damage coming out on the side of SQUA. We do still see the Orisa and the Diva come out. Buddha is going to be staying in the Junkrat. David is going to be switching to a Bastion, though. We mentioned that would be a good pick for these 2 CP type maps. And then we've also Bobidily on the Mercy and the Donjiki staying on that Zenyatta. So this is going to be a formidable defense, and they're going to need to, kind of change something if they want to be able to push through.
Yeah, you see Chief Kill on the Mei. That could be an interesting pick. I think that's mostly the only change. Young James on Reaper instead of the Tracer that we've kind of seen so far. And kind of, an interesting approach to their attack.
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
We'll see if they have enough damage to break down Frog Shield. Generally a pretty good Orisa. And there'll be a lot of damage coming out from behind it, given the Discords. Yeah, you're right, that Bastion and Junkrat will make it really difficult.
That being said, though, maybe they know something we don't. Maybe they have some sort of strategy we haven't thought about, and they'll be able to kind of flank them to push in and get them caught off guard.
Well, you got to throw out the disclaimer because we've been wrong, so many times before. So, yeah, you're exactly right. I think they know something we don't know. But coming around the corner here, making plays, looking to get a little bit of space, trap there, set up cleverly. But Budo will trap that Reinhardt. The rest of the team goes on without him. Will suffer for it. Stoic falling Keystone as well. It's a 4v6, and they're already behind the lines. Could be a little tough for them to continue this engagement without those shields. Maybe looking to pull one through and wall them off. They do just that, catching Junior license, and that D.Va in a tough spot. The wall breaks, and they're able to get back to a little bit of safety. And it's actually more of making plays than one's falling here. Defeat going the way of SQUA.
Yeah, I think it's a good strategy. Kind of put that wall up to deflect the damage, and then go around the side. However, losing that Ryan was a big problem for them, and yeah, they just kind of got splintered after that.
Yeah, but now an opportunity to come back in and re-engage. Still a lot of time to work with. David Squabs is already 92% to that tank form. Buddha 96 to a... Oh, that's unfortunate for Blue. That's rough. Just getting out of mech and then dropping off there. Buddha getting better at that. So now they'll have to wait to re-engage again. Buddha with the Rip Tire. Also, two really good ults for the defenders that can effectively shut down attacks in about half the time right ago.
Yeah, it's just so much damage coming from the side of SQUA right now. And then with that Orisa constantly popping her shield and the D.Va up front eating as much as she can whenever the shield goes down, it's hard to get through that.
Yeah, and the likes of Buddha on the Junkrat raining damage from above. Blue trying to go up and take care of him a little bit, but now the Tire coming out, maybe taking him out of mech. Able to combine with Frogs there, getting good damage in. And now the Coalescence coming through for Tacos, trying to initiate for the attack, get them through this chokehold. It's been a little bit tight for them so far. Only getting as far as they've gotten, pushing SQUA back a little bit into the room, but now as Blue out of mech goes down via David Squabinson on the Bastion. Again, they're running out of numbers. Now Valkyrie coming out. I think that's from Bo Billy to try and get John Jiggy back into the fight. David Squabinson picking up Tacos. And again, as the attack continues to try and come in, they just lose members back and forth and make it difficult to continue any kind of strong push. But now Blue on the back, looking to get maybe a tick for making plays, able to catch Buddha there with the self-destruct, and maybe they can start getting some of the kills they need to really start earning some percentage. The rest of the team kind of streaming back in through the choke, but I don't think they have the support, and as Keith Stone falls, they won't have the healing.
Tactical Advisor does come out though, he's able to get Mercy. El Blue Jay goes down though from Junior, and then Chief Killer goes down as well. Mentioned earlier, Junior doing a really good job of his aggressive D.Va play, just diving in with those rockets especially, and being able to get out before he gets taken out of mech.
60 seconds remaining.
And not a lot of time to work with for making plays, and they need to go 2-0 here on the map they chose. 53 seconds on the clock, and one ult really to work with. They'll have the shadow here, I guess, from Stoic. And Young James Tacos on the way with a couple. Trying to get a little bit of a back cap is a support here in the back. Tacos looking to find some space and use some fade to get away from danger, but may fall here without a lot of help. Chief Killer coming on the corner trying to help and will take down Buddha. Keystone now with the Valkyrie. It may start going, making plays. Wait, they're starting a little bit of percentage here.
30 seconds remaining.
Yeah, they got a couple, but Don Jiggy comes in with his tranquility. We see Junior License has her ultimate, which she decides to pop now. Not able to get anything, but is able to clear them kind of off the points. They're still fighting their best though. That Reaper doing everything he can to get Junior out of mech. He is successful. Chief also doing really well. The Riptire does come in though at the last second, picks off Chief Killer, and now it's just that Bastion trying to hold on and keep them from getting this first point.
Yeah, getting a little bit of help, taking out quite a few and able to wrap up there. That's a really good play from David Squabinson to try and get a couple Stoic coming in and getting it, but they're off the point. Gets the shatter off, but no one's on the point, and they run out of overtime. They had the space, had a few people there to contest, but at the end, SQUA getting away with the just lack of attention from making plays, getting the win there. Volskaya.
Yeah, it was a valiant effort there at the end. I really thought they had it, but just not quite enough attention to the point there. Yeah. And the game will go to SQUA.
This is David Squabinson coming in and getting that multi-kill to take Blue out of mech, takes out Keith Stone, and wrap that up for them. But yeah, quick win for SQUA, and again, continue this undefeated streak, 3-0 now at the top of the Challenger tier, and making plays, we'll have to regroup a little bit, come back in week 4. But we'll look back at this game and look ahead to next week right after this intermission. We'll be right back. That will do it. Congratulations to SQUA for picking up the 2-0 win over Making Plays, continuing their run undefeated at the top of Challenger. So yeah, just solid game from them. Really impressive, showing they do deserve that top spot, getting the wins on Dorado and Volskaya. Yeah, and just before we look ahead to the next week on Hanamura, Zach, what do you take away from this game?
Man, watch out for SQUA. That's what I have to take away from them. They're really good at putting out a lot of damage, but they do it smart. They don't split up. They kind of stay together as a team, and they use their barriers really effectively to just pump as much damage into the team as possible, and it works out very well for them.
Yeah, definitely a team to look out for. And looking ahead to week 4, SQUA facing Mjolnir, who, looking at about the middle of this tier, 1-1. I have to check and see how they did in week 3. But yeah, up against Mjolnir, who is a team that I think carried over from last season. Very strong team, so that'll be a challenge for them, but definitely probably foes they're more familiar with. Making Plays up against Crisis Red, who actually did lose to SQUA again. They already gotten that challenge out of the way, but Crisis Red still sitting up 3rd place on points at 1-1 as well. You know what? I probably do have the week 3 results. I don't know if those are in the standings yet. Mjolnir and Crisis both got wins, both sitting at 2-1, looking to dethrone SQUA there at the top of the table. So definitely some interesting games. And make sure you're in the Discord, checking up on the website OWXL.com to find out when those games can be played. We kind of schedule them throughout the week, so you can just keep checking and get those times. But yeah, I think fun game. Right after this game at 10 Eastern will be a champion tier game between Big Throws and Eternity Esports, both 1-1, looking to catch up to Sevenfold at the top of the champion tier. A lot of really high-level players in that game, so stick around for that. We'll have that for you here in just a few minutes. But yeah, that will do it for us. So yeah, for the Challenger tier for Zach Spades 26, Salt and Pepper, and see you next time.
Also doing really well. The Riptide does come in though at the last second, picks off Chief Killer, and now it's just that Bastion trying to hold on and keep them from getting this first point.
Yeah, getting a little bit of help.